This is Talking My Walking. I am Rodrigo Ribeiro, and I'm going to talk about why values and principles matter. Values and principles is what validates our way of lives, our understanding of ourselves, how we organize society and the economy, how we understand politics, and they shape who we are. That's how we give meaning and purpose to our lives, in the sense that we assign meaning and purpose based on values and principles through narratives that make them logical and make them understandable, and that's how we spread them, and that's so. The principles and values, like many other things, they are used to frame reality. They are not used to explain reality, and this is a very important point, because it's exactly why we can go through our lives without understanding the society where we are living. That is where that we are part of. So, and this is a very important issue, because if we do not, if you do not want, if you do not even wish to understand the basis of our society, to question the society where we live, because as most of us assume that it has always been like that, and blah blah blah, we end up by being manipulated by, again, that I need to repeat it again and again, by the worst people. And not because they are not smart, of course they are smart, not because they cannot create good things for society. It doesn't mean that this is the point, one point that I want to stress. There are people that they have been useful for society in a certain way, okay? They might have been responsible for some inventions or some ideas that have implemented the conditions of life, or have been at the basis of changes that have been that were important for all of us, okay? But this doesn't mean that we should worship these people, because it depends on what was the purpose of these, what was the objective, what was the goal of their real goal. And in many cases, these people do not care about humanity. They do not care the good they do, and it's more like a sub-product than the real objective. The real objective of people, especially in businesses, is about bottom line. And besides the bottom line, you have they want to create monopolies, the ones that really that are really on the they share the characteristics, sociopathic or psychopathic characteristics. They want monopolies. They want control and power. They want to preserve by all means a society of classes or castes. They want a stronger hierarchy while talking about freedom. Freedom for them. Democracy for the few. You just have to read the book by Michael Parenti. These people, they do not really care about the well-being of the community. They might mask or they might have that facade of philanthropists, okay? Some of them. Because they can, but that philanthropist facade is more for leverage, to leverage themselves, to be able to take over assets and resources and influence governments and through NGOs, through the non-profit, so-called non-profit industrial complex, that they, I can, you can see that through foundations and charities, and there are all foundations and charities and all philanthropists psychopaths or sociopaths, or just they are looking for control and power and to impose their agendas? No, of course not. This should not be even an issue, because we know that there are people, wealthy people, that they want to do some good with the money they have, or at least to the money that they would have to pay in taxes. They want to use that money because maybe they hate the government, or whatever it is the reason, it doesn't matter, but they use the money to try to do some good. But that sometimes it's not even, it's even for the ones that have good intentions. This system of non-profit industrial, this instituted system of the non-profit industrial complex is, in spite of what the good they do, in the end they are they are a tool of capitalism, in order the government, instead of trying to make people to build a state, to build state institutions that really build universal basic services, health, education, transportation, social housing, and the public banking, which is a very important tool, maybe the most important tool, to use the sovereign money in ways that can implement the real economy and build society, not through privatization, which is it should be easy to understand. Private companies are supposed to are not supposed to take care of the collective good. They are supposed to be focused on the bottom line. Okay, so that is. But somehow, I don't even know how many people still believe in the theory of trickle-down economics. I think that's that we need to be very delusional to believe in that idea, in that deception, because it has always been a deception. Anyway, so values and principles are very important, because behind how we build meaning and purpose for our lives, there are values and principles. Okay? The values and principles, political values and principles, moral values and principles, economic values and principles, and so on and so forth. So we do not build meaning and purpose for our own lives out of the blue. They are connected with our cultural rules, with the economic system, with the political system, with all the narratives the dominant narratives that influence our understanding of the world and our understanding of ourselves and our role in society. And that last define who we are. So that it is very important that this is not choice. That's the problem with choice. That's the problem with freedom of choice and freedom of this and freedom of that. The freedom starts always through understanding, through comprehensive understanding of through context, through historical context, through understanding of layers, the complexity of complex systems such as our societies. It's not about that we choose from just we choose freely, as if we do not have, as if we do not since our birth, that we are immediately before our birth, but let's make it kind of that when we exchange directly with the external environment, we are immediately under the influence of many things, the sounds around the house, the injections we take, vaccines, before we leave the maternity, everything that the way the voice of our parents or other people that interact with us, all the things that are going to stimulate our emotions and start to be the basis of our how we develop our neural networks, how we wire our brains. Everything starts to shape who we are going to become. So it is as if that our subconscious life is as if we control it. Of course, we do not control it. We have no control of our subconscious life. We can influence it through conscious thinking. That's why we can work on the values and through conscious analysis of values and principles and narratives, by comparing, by questioning, by being skeptical, by being able to have a critic. Critic is very important, and critic is about an analysis. It's about not. It's not about being. Not. That's the only way. And this is a process, you know. That's why that's why repetition works, because if you want to change, you need to, if you want to change, to see or to put your ideas and values and principles through scrutiny, through a self-criticism, a self-critic. You need to it's not something that you do once a year, no, like a retreat. No, this is part of a process. That's a process that where we have to invest, you know, to invest our time, because time is life, and we invest our time to try to understand that if our life really have meaning, if what we do, if our job, how we spend our time with our job, with our leisure, and questioning like things. Why do we need to spend money? Why all our needs need to be met through commodification? That's one. I think it's a valid point. Why most of the time that we go out is for shopping? Why can't we anymore sit down and have a nice conversation? I mean, I don't even talk about philosophical or political conversations. That's not everybody enjoys it. But even a normal conversation. Why does our attention span has been shortening and shortening? Oh, there are many questions that we might believe that what we do as a purpose and it gives meaning to our lives, but we need to feel it. It's important to feel it, because our feelings tell you if you have a job and what you feel at your job, the relations you have at your job, how much agency do you have there? Are you just a tool? Do you spend most of your time or your awake time giving the best hours of your day to a job that you just cannot be yourself? That there are people, engineers and consultants, and many other experts, making sure that they extract from you everything that is possible For example, in the assembling lines. That's what's the purpose of science. That is to dehumanize ourselves, to dehumanize our working post, working station, I mean. Is that what life is about? Just because you need to earn a living? Just because you want to have a family? Is everything about competition? Is this just about the lowering the bar? Because that's what has been happening over at least 4 decades or 5 decades at least in the most advanced countries. Lowering the bar. Values and principles are always behind what we validate, consciously or subconsciously. That's why we need to to go through the narratives and the values and the principles they try to plant on us, to plant on our brains, to become part of us. And now we understand everything. You know, where does the productivity gains through the technological advancements and efficiency in the economy? Where are they? Who are the real cui bono? The real beneficiaries. After 40 years, after 4 decades of the financialization of the economy, which has become where most new money, okay, take a deep breath. Most new money that is created by private banking in the Western countries and the liberal democracies, so-called liberal democracies, is to invest in the rentier economy, the financialized economy, is to buy financial assets. It's to take over existing real estate, not even to build new projects or infrastructure or anything of that sort. Is more like to take over, to buy sometimes state assets and other assets that are already existing. They're not to build new ones, in most cases, by the fire sector. So we have an economy that is by the financial sector, the fire sector, okay, for the fire sector. I mean, they are the ones that at the same time they create the money and they are the investors. I mean, this is these people in the when people think about BlackRock or Blackstone or Vanguard or or the big banks, you know, the big financial institutions, and many other asset asset firms, asset management firms, and we all know that they are crippling our economies. They are taking over so many assets in many places in the world, buying agriculture land, taking over mines and infrastructure, and so many other, like the BlackRock, the biggest landlord in America, in the United States of America. But then we don't understand. It seems that we do not connect the dots. That we do not understand that these people, they have been creating an environment, a legal, I've been codifying it into law. Okay? National, domestic law, and international law. The instruments, the legal and political and economic instruments to control almost everything, and leaving us behind. We are left behind. And what's the connection of principles and values? We need to understand there are principles and values behind this. The principles of the values of the superiority, the primacy of private property, the limitless accumulation of wealth, the maximization of profit, the short time mentality, to the quick profit also for many of them. And this, what are we led to believe? That we are invited also to participate, as if we are playing in a level playing field. That we are invited to a level playing field. At least the system is not rigged in their favor. Because then, when the bubble bursts, who are the ones that are going to be caught, that are going to be left behind? It's us. It's the ones that... And all these investments, they are leveraged in a lot of that. Because all new money created is based on that. It's based on credit. And then the first beneficiaries, the biggest beneficiaries, are these firms in the fire sector, financial, insurance, and real estate. The rentier capital. This is rentier capitalism. This doesn't create wealth. It just sucks wealth and it creates wealth artificially. It's fictitious wealth. But the problem is, that's what people need to understand. These people for example, they use bonds as collateral for, and they use other forms to get huge amounts of credit from their pals, because they are all in bed together somehow. That means they do not compete with each other, but they also are pals. So and they use this money to control this money, this fake wealth, this fictitious, it's not fake, it's fake also, but it's fictitious wealth, to control real assets. And And we, the most of the citizenry, just have to work harder and harder to make ends meet, because nothing of that wealth, or almost nothing, or just a small percentage of that wealth, is to invest in the real economy. So we need to stop believing that this should be normal, because this is not normal. This is totally unnatural. This is not an economy. This is a fake economy. But the problem at this fake economy is controlling our lives without, and it's getting worse and worse. And now with these new tech oligarchs, with the emergence of the tech oligarchs, we are not better, we are worse. Because again, these people, the values and principles of these people are not for the collective good. That's the reason why they demonize the state, because they know the purpose of the state is to defend the collective good, to defend the nation, to defend the sovereignty, the economic sovereignty. But they do not want that. They want to they want to take over everything, everywhere. They don't like freedom. They do not like freedom. They do not like democracy. But they do not also want socialism, and they want socialism for the rich. They love it. They enjoy it. They are the ones that enjoy the contracts with the government. They are the ones that get the subsidies and get all the cookies, the goodies that the state can provide them. They benefit, but most people do not understand it, or at least too many people do not understand it. They even make these people as if they are, again, it's a question of values and principles. Entrepreneur, meritocracy. Don't you see a value system that is attached to it? Not because there are not people that are not, they do not have ingenuity, and they are not they are active. They are builders. Of course, there's those people with initiative, with ingenuity, and all the rest that is important to create new things or new enterprises or activities. Yeah, that is true. But it has nothing to do what these people are doing with what their goals are. Their goals are not they are not building society. They are building techno-fascism with a catch, because it's the system, the political system they want is techno-fascism, all right? But the economy they want is techno-feudalism. Because it's not anymore about producing, it's about rent. It's a rentier economy through financialization in one side, and through what Yanis Varoufakis calls cloud capital, which is that new form of capital that we all that is governing our lives more and more. The reason why it's important to understand reality through the relevance of values and principles and ideas, and how the influence they have on how we perceive the world, and even how we feel the what's going on around us, how we perceive and feel our jobs, how we build meaning, and how we build purpose and attach meaning to our lives. This is too windy, and I forgot the micro okay, it's a bit too windy. It's because we need to understand them, how they are used, because this is the part. We always have lots of videos. You can find lots of videos and podcasts. I'm sorry about this. Yeah, that's not nice. We can find lots of videos, because while I was walking the other way, I had my back, but now the wind is coming from okay. So anyways, my point, what I want to what I try to do, it's to connect the dots, to see that, to have this holistic approach, which for me is important, because I know that we can understand most of the phenomena, economic, political, social, cultural, intellectually, okay? But if we do not understand how we process it, how it makes us who we are, through which mechanisms, we are not able to really challenge, because the challenge goes through the understanding of how human psychology functions, to understand our language framing, logical fallacies, the human emotions, how the psychoaffective, cognitive, psychocognitive affective system really works. That's where we do not need to be experts, not need to have any degree in neurosciences or cognitive linguistics or social psychology or whatever it is. We really don't need that, because the knowledge is available, and it's in some ways it is. We need to approach it with some skepticism, because what I find interesting is there are very few psychologists. There are very, very few people that do have a holistic approach. They are this specialization and this biological determinism, and that is genetic explanation for everything, and all this stuff that, of course, it's Does it mean that it has a purpose? It has some. It gives you. It helps us to understand it to a certain. Yes, but it is also limitative. But we can use those concepts, that knowledge, to help us, the ordinary citizens, to understand what's the human condition. How do we really acquire knowledge? How can we change? And how can we change the dominant narrative? How can we expose? How can we really have a conversation with ourselves? Can we question our certainties, our core beliefs? Or at least that we, through the lenses of which is one important topic for me, which is society, if it doesn't have the purpose to cause, to reduce the unnecessary suffering, to reduce, to be focused on reducing the unnecessary suffering caused on people, nature, animals, environment, everything. That should be the purpose of civilization and society, and by the way, the economy and politics. That is so. So our principles and values, and how we build the purpose and find meaning to our lives should also go through this screen, in my opinion. I'm going to end it now because this is very uncomfortable. It's almost unbearable. I mean, too much wind. I enjoy it for the walking, but not for the recording. Thanks for listening. I will be back soon.